Let's welcome in our panel Republican strategist Matt Klink, along with Democratic strategist and speechwriter Madeline Somerville. Good afternoon. I'm going to take a time out from what's going on in Minnesota with the ICE actions and the National Guard and the protesting that's happening, and turn it back around on a story that I found unsettling this weekend regarding Josh Shapiro and Kamala Harris. We spoke at the beginning of the first hour of this show talking about how Democrats are reluctant to have Kamala Harris, run for president again, but how she's back out on the campaign trail. But Josh Shapiro, he's settled some scores with Kamala Harris. The Pennsylvania governor discusses the strange questions he received in his vice presidential vetting. This is according to a story from The Atlantic. Shapiro was already irritated by what he describes as unnecessarily contentious questions from the team vetting him to be Kamala Harris's running mate, when a senior aide made one final inquiry question: have you ever been an agent of the Israeli government? Madeline, I'm going to go to you first. This was right during Josh Shapiro's vetting was right during or right after October 7th. There was all of these pro-Palestinian protests that were going on. There was rumors that Shapiro was not picked because he was Jewish, and there's a sort of an anti-Semite wing of the Democratic Party. What do you make of this report and Shapiro kind of being put off by the questions that were asked of him?
Yeah, excuse me. I appreciate being asked this question, and I want to say hi to both you and Matt. So when it comes to Josh Shapiro, being a Jewish person myself, if there is no evidence whatsoever of him having any association with Israel, other than the fact that he's Jewish, then I do think that it's an anti-Semitic question to ask. Simply because he's Jewish, you're going to ask him that? I find it offensive. And I think that it's part of a larger pattern that we've seen with the Democratic Party, which is not standing up for what you claim to value. Because when it came to Kamala Harris saying, I would have liked to have had Pete Buttigieg, but I didn't think that America was ready for having a gay person as VP. Listen, if somebody's not going to vote for you because your VP is gay, they weren't going to vote for you anyways. So it was honestly a silly contention of hers, and it really demonstrates a serious lack of faith in not just Democrats but independents and Republicans for that matter. And it's just it looks like a pattern to me. You don't want somebody who you think is going to create any division, and in the process, you're giving up what you believe in and your own integrity. So I find it very disappointing.
Matt, what do you make of this story out of The Atlantic and the fact that Shapiro thinks, was offended, basically, when Kamala Harris's team asked him if he was a Mossad agent for Israel?
Well, I'm chuckling because it's so sophomoric and stupid. But, look, I'm from California. I've been around Kamala Harris for a long time. This doesn't surprise me. She bowed to the woke god of the Democratic Party that was so prevalent during the Biden administration. If a Republican had made that statement, he or she would have been hauled before the media and branded a racist and convicted, and it would have been a horrid thing. I'm surprised, frankly, that Governor Shapiro just didn't get up and walk out. But this shows what happens when a party basically puts a candidate in office who didn't go through a proper vetting process to run for president and clearly wasn't ready for prime time. I think we're seeing the last gasp of Kamala Harris on the national political scene.
Well, I don't know about that, Matt. She's still on her book tour. She's extended that. There's been talks about her running for 2028. But I think Josh Shapiro dodged a bullet here. He doesn't want to be associated with her failed campaign, and he can he can run for 2028 on his record of being the governor of a very, purple state. There is no bigger swing state, I believe, than the state of Pennsylvania. Kamala Harris chose Tim Walz Walz, and look at the trouble that he's in right now. Her vetting team really cared a lot about Josh Shapiro and his ties to Israel, but when it comes to fraud and ripping off the federal government, they seem to look past that with Governor Tim Walz. But Matt Klink and Madeline Somerville, please stick around because there's a lot more to discuss, so stay with us.
You got it.
Straight ahead.